So now we turn on this Wednesday edition of Pro Football Talk Live from competitions that can be objectively resolved to the inherently subjective configuration of 32 teams as determined by me without necessarily a whole lot of advanced thought. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's the power rankings. Not nearly as much shakeup this week as last week. There's the entirety of the list, 1 through 32. The Steelers continue to be at number 1, Chris, because even though they weren't impressive against the Cowboys, what was I going to do, move the Saints all the way up to number 1 with 2 losses? The Chiefs weren't impressive against the Panthers. That was their opportunity. If the Chiefs had won by 21 points and the Steelers had struggled against the Cowboys, maybe I would have moved the Chiefs ahead of the Steelers. But they both struggled, but not enough for the Saints to overtake them. Although, hey, if the Saints keep winning 38-3, they may get to number 1 despite having 2 losses.
Yeah, and I understand, what you're saying with the 1 and 2. I'd probably still put the Chiefs at number 1 just because of how bad the Steelers looked. And not that the Chiefs looked great, but the Chiefs at least had moments in that game where they were close to where you go, oh, they're going to put it away. Oh, they're going to put it away. And then they do something dumb or something like that. So I still disagree with you there at 1 and 2, but I understand your logic. The Ravens-Saints one at 3 and 4. How much did you do splitting hairs there? Because I will say, I think I'd probably still put the Ravens a smidgen ahead of the Saints, but I get it. It wasn't the greatest win for them with the Colts. They come off the loss. The Saints have the big win, but how much thinking did you do there?
Not a whole lot. Not
No?
as much as maybe you think. I just, what the Saints did on Sunday night was so impressive. And, we were still reeling from the fact that we believed in the Buccaneers to win that game, and we were so badly wrong by what the Saints did to them that I felt like that was still resonating with me on Monday night when I was putting it together, and I think they deserve to be number 3. I mean, I did think, right now, and it changes week in and week out, but based on what we saw from the Saints the other night, I don't know. Would they beat the Chiefs if they played right now? I don't know. I think they'd give them a hell of a run for their money.
I do too. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Again,
they do play. They do play coming up.
They do. Remember, Drew told us that when we were at the Super Bowl with them last year, when we asked him about the Super Bowl winner, will be the 49ers and Chiefs. He goes, well, we got to play both next year. And he weaseled out of giving us an answer because of it. But I'm with you. And, hey, we've said all along that the Saints have the potential to be the most complete team in the NFC. We never really saw it till this week. That's where I don't understand some of the backlash with that, the Saints, and how come you didn't pick them and all that. They haven't looked that great. This was by far their best game of the year in every aspect. It really was. And now let's see if they can build on it. I mean, if we see the next few weeks where we go, ooh, okay, they're winning. Let's not say it's 38-3, but they're winning and they're still looking a lot like they did on Sunday Night Football, then, hey, yeah, maybe you got a case there to put them at number 1, number 2. But I want to just see it one more week of just clean football, I guess, before you start to throw them in the Chiefs-Steelers category.
How about this fact as it relates to the Kansas City Chiefs? I saw this on Twitter yesterday, and I can't remember where. The Chiefs have now lost in the last calendar year 1 game, the game against the Raiders. That's the only game they've lost since November 10 of 2019. They lost to the Titans that day, that wild, crazy regular season game.
Yeah.
Where the Titans, what was it? Was it a blocked field goal?
It was a blocked field goal.
Yeah, crazy thing at the end of the game. 35-32, the Titans won. November 10, that's the last time, other than the loss to the Raiders this year. That's the last time the Chiefs lost a game. That's an incredible, incredible run. And, one of the things I talked to Travis Kelce about on Sunday, they're pissed off that they lost to the Raiders. They have the bye week to get ready for the Raiders, and they don't plan on losing another game anytime soon. And somehow they're flying under radar. Here's another fact about the Chiefs, Chris. They've held a lead at some point in the game for 51 straight games, including 45 games with Patrick Mahomes, who was 36-9 as a starter. But for 51 straight games, at some point in the game, they've been ahead. Yeah. That is unreal.
That is unreal. And it speaks to, to me, again, their toughness. They're more physical than we give them credit for. Of course, Mahomes and that offense always answer when they are down. I mean, we've really never seen them not answer to where you go, oh, we're going to have a game. I mean, really, the Raiders game this year was about as far as it's ever gotten out of reach as far as I can remember with Mahomes as a starting quarterback in Kansas City. But then the other thing I think it proves too is just their defense is versatile. And yeah, it's not statistically at the top of the league all the time, but they can match up against any offense in football, and I think that's their greatness. And we see when they're kind of like the same. They embody their team. When they're focused and on things, they stop things. Oh, we're playing the Ravens. We need to stop Lamar Jackson running. No problem. They do it. Oh, Derrick Henry in the AFC Championship game. No problem. We do it. They let up plays here and there. They lose their attention to detail, it seems like, but. Yeah, it speaks to the bigger, complete team that Veach and Andy Reid have built there to where, there's never a team that totally is a mismatch for them in any way.
PointsBet, which is the official sports betting partner of NBC Sports, has a look-ahead line where the AFC representative in the Super Bowl would be a 2.5-point favorite over the NFC representative. Does that seem right to you? I think it does.
I think it does, too. I think the AFC is clearly the more quality conference. There's no doubt. The NFC... we just talked with the Saints and the Bucs are the two teams we had in there for most complete teams. We know there's issues with the Packers. They got a great quarterback, definitely. I mean, they're in the mix. Seattle, we know there's issues there too. There's flaws with every NFC team for the most part, except for really the Saints right now. What?
Let's have some fun here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Chiefs, let's say it's Chiefs Seahawks. What would the line be? What would you think the betting line would be? Chiefs Seahawks.
I'm gonna say Chiefs by 4.
I was thinking 4.5.
Yeah.
What if it would be Chiefs Saints?
Ooh, I think that'll be less.
Now, and they will be playing later this year. But I'm talking about Super Bowl Chiefs Saints. What do you think?
I think it's gonna be like Chiefs by 2 or 1.5 almost.
How about Steelers Bucks?
Ooh.
If that was the Super Bowl.
Wow. Well, I'm flawed right now with my mind in the Tampa Bay area, so it's like hard to come up with a realistic one because I still got that image of last week to where I go, well, right now, I guess, Steelers are going to be the favorites, and I would think that would be something like a 2.5-point spread, something like that as well, somewhere in there.
Yeah, it would be. That was a tough one.
It's a tough one.
One more before we move on.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Packers.
Oh, baby. I don't know. That would be torture for me, though. I don't know who I'd root for. I don't know. But I think the Chiefs would probably – I'm going to say like 3.5 in that one. I'd go with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Hey,
you want real torture. Packers, Bills.
Oh.
That's real torture for you.
It would be. And I would think the Packers would be favored in that one by – that would be, I think, a little closer than people might realize. Maybe 3.5, somewhere right in there. I think that would be dangerous, though. That'd be the kind of matchup that Josh Allen and them could win if they got the Super Bowl.
And I also think what happens by the time you would rise up out of the AFC playoff field, you would have a different vibe around you than right now.
No, that's exactly it. Right. I mean, we see teams that, really come to a culmination a lot of times in the playoffs to where they hit their peak play divisional championship game weekend, and they're a different team than we even thought they were in week 13 or 14. So, yeah, this is still a work in progress. But, to the original question, I think you're right. No, there's no doubt as far as the AFC is the better conference right now. You're seeing that. Hey, look at the AFC East. What? The Bills are, 2-1 against the great NFC West? The Dolphins are what? 3-1?
3-1
against the great NFC West. So that just shows you a little right there. And of course, we've seen the Patriots beat the Raiders and be toe-to-toe with the Chiefs. So that just speaks to, we don't view the AFC East as this power conference, but yet we talk about the NFC West being the best division of football, and the AFC East is giving them a run for their money.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. Yeah. And who knows who's going to come out of that AFC field, but I feel like whoever it is, they are going to have an edge over the NFC representative because I just don't see that team that jumps off the page consistently.
Yeah,
it's just
that's it.
1 week it's this team, 1 week it's that team, 1 week it's this team, 1 week it's that team, and there isn't that overpowering 49ers type team that's just steamrolling through the conference.
Right.
We ask for questions when we do this, both on the PFT Twitter page and on the Chris Sims Twitter page, and there are plenty of questions. Here's one as it relates to the Ravens, who are now number 4, up 3 spots from last week. At ToastySam13, do the Ravens have the offense, Chris, to win in the playoffs?
That will be the big question about the Ravens. And I don't know if you listened to that little clip I had in the show from my podcast a little bit, because I discussed this on Monday. we're all critical of Lamar Jackson sometimes, and, can they win with the drop-back pass game? And that's where I had to check myself before I wrecked myself last week as I was thinking about it, because I also got to go, wait, let's be realistic here. Yeah, there's been some moments where Lamar could be better in the pass game, but it's still really damn good. I mean, we're being nitpicky with this guy a little bit. And I think the other thing that just comes to me as I watch the Ravens on film so much is, I don't have faith in their pass offense, and it has nothing to do with Lamar Jackson. I don't see enough creative ways to get playmakers the ball, enough wide open players, just not enough there in the pass game schematics that stress a defense out. And I think that, to me, is something they really need to dive into here down the stretch, because I think if they are going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and maybe have to beat the Steelers and who else in the AFC, that at some point that's going to have to rely on that pass game. It's going to. And it can't just be Lamar scrambling and making plays or little short passes over the middle. It's going to have to be something more to that. And I think that's still a big question about their football team.
And as we get closer and closer to the postseason, that narrative is going to get stronger and stronger because Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are 0-2. For as great as they are in the regular season, they're 0-2 in the postseason. John Harbaugh told me after the win over the Colts, as he explained that he's leery about the Patriots because they're still the Patriots. They still have Bill Belichick. He pointed out, we have a very young team. People don't realize how young this team is. They're still kind of learning their way.
Yeah.
And they have to learn how to play in these big games against tough opponents. And I think part of that is preparing them for having some success in the postseason, because if they lose again this year, the narrative gets even stronger, and it will continue to grow and grow year in and year out until they finally show they can win in the playoffs. We have the Bills at number 6. And at Derek Rudolph has a question as it relates to Buffalo, considering the victory over the Seahawks, 10 points, 44-34. Are they back in the Super Bowl conversation? We had a gap between Ravens, Chiefs, Titans, Steelers, and the Bills. Are they closing that gap? Is it a 5-team conversation now in the AFC?
I don't know if I'm ready to go there. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to say that yet. I do think it made me feel better about them, definitely. And not even necessarily that they just won by 10 points. But watching the film back too, to me, their defense showed some different aspects, Mike, that we hadn't seen. I don't know what it is, but they kind of played a different way this past week against Seattle. I feel like it's like Sean McDermott got back involved and was like, no, wait, we got to do some more of this and that and this. It was a little more creative. They definitely were more physical up front, to where I think they're teetering on that line of the conversation, but I don't think I could put them in the class still. Like, I think I might have pulled Tennessee out of that group too right now, where I just go, I'm not so sure. They're right on the fringe, but in like the AFC, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Baltimore are for sure Super Bowl contenders. And then I feel like Tennessee and Buffalo are the next group there that you go, ooh, they're close. I'd like to see a little more about this and that. But they have some qualities of being a Super Bowl team. I don't know, Mike, you feel the same way, or do you think Buffalo's back in that Super Bowl combo?
I think they're moving toward it, and I agree with you. Maybe the combination of the Bills rising and the Titans sliding a little bit, even though the Titans manhandled the Bills. That was now several weeks ago. Teams change.
Yeah.
They get better. They get worse. They rarely stay the same. We're going to learn a lot about the Titans on Thursday night when they play the Indianapolis Colts in the first of 2 matchups between those teams, which will likely decide the champion of the AFC South. The Seahawks, I moved them from number 3 down to number 7 after losing in as ugly fashion as they did to the Buffalo Bills. I don't know how to feel about them.
I know.
Any given week. The Cardinals kind of popped that bubble of we'll always find a way to win. And I felt like against the Bills, we were creeping toward that. Here they come. Here come the Seahawks doing Seahawks things and pulling a victory out of the jaws of defeat. The 4 interceptions in the first half of the NFC Championship game from 5 years ago. It's just the setup for the dramatic finish. I kept thinking that's going to happen, and maybe we're just at a point where there isn't enough around Russell Wilson to let that occur, Chris.
No, it's a little scary. I mean, they got to have they need an adjustment on the defensive side of the ball. There's just no other way to say it. It's just it's too easy for offenses at times. And I don't know what that approach is going to be. Their pass rush is a little bit better. Jamal Adams was out there. But to me, the big thing is to where they got to reevaluate. It's just too aggressive. I mean, last week it's just too much blitzing, too many DBs that are not that great in man-to-man on an island versus receivers that are much better than them. 3rd and 15, like the play we've talked about a lot. It's a wide receiver screen. It's an all-out blitz. The DB covering the wide receiver's not even in the screen when you're watching it. I mean, he catches a ball, got 4 lead blockers in it. It's down to the 1-yard line. It's a 35-yard gain on 3rd and 15. There's just too many big plays throughout, let alone some mix-ups and coverage and things like that too, to where I don't know what they do, but I think they need to back off we're going to blitz and get in your face and play that style of football so much, because it's just making it too easy in some of these offenses right now.
Question from @GongShowWest. We may need to pull up the full list of power rankings to answer this properly, but which of the top 7 teams, and they are the Steelers, Chiefs, Saints, Ravens, Titans, Bills, Seahawks, which is fugazi and most likely to drop out of the top 7 by the end of the season?
Wow. That is a tough one there. I don't have one in the top 7 that I look at and just go absolute fugazi. I don't know if there's one there. I mean, really, I think the one I probably am questioning more than anything right now is the Tennessee Titans. I would say that to a degree, because their defense has been so poor. They can't get a pass rush. People throw the ball all over them. People run the ball over them. I mean, it's Mike Vrabel. They're the 25th ranked defense in the sport. And, the offense has shown a little issues too here as of late, to where it's not been as overpowering that way. So I guess if I'm going to pick one, that's going to be it. But the next 3 weeks are going to really tell us about the Tennessee Titans, because it's Colts, Ravens, Colts. And we'll really be able to answer that question. What do you think, Mike? Are you going to go with Tennessee? You got another team you think is fugazi-ish?
I need to see Tennessee, of those 7, I need to see them reestablish themselves. And then if we extend it beyond 7, the Packers, even though they had a great week 9 because they won convincingly, they saw the Saints beat the Bucs, which helps the Packers in the race for the 1 seed. They saw the Seahawks lose, which helps them. They've got that weird thing that just can pop up out of nowhere and bring them down. And I don't like that.
No,
we saw it against the Bucs. We saw it against the Vikings. We saw it last year every time they played in California. There's just something about the Packers that it's impossible for me to completely trust, because you never know when they're going to step in a trap. And the traps seem to be plentiful when it comes to the Green Bay Packers, and I feel like that could screw things up for them.
Yeah.
How about this question from Big Daddy Bustard? Because we have the Dolphins at 9 and the Bucs at 10, do you really think Miami is Florida's best chance at making a Super Bowl? Well, we can forget about the Jaguars. Obviously, it comes down to the Dolphins and the Bucs. And right now, the way things are moving for the Miami Dolphins, the way they're playing, the way they're winning, I feel better about them than I feel about that team that got plastered on Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, it is easy to feel good about the Dolphins right now, where they're going, everything like that. I don't know. I mean, that was one that I was going to talk about, like your 8, 9, 10 area there, where I thought was interesting. I probably would have put the Bucs in front of the Dolphins. The Bucs played a crap game last night. I still got to see more from Tua and that offense, and it was a great start last week, but that Cardinals defense is not exactly the steel curtain, and the way in which they use Tua, as I think I've explained to you, that formula will be easily figured out here very quickly. It's going to have to expand the offense a little bit. So that's where I want to see where it goes. I'm very excited about Miami Dolphins. But, man, in a one game, if it was like one game, we got to get in the playoffs, who are you going to pick? I'm going to pick the Buccaneers on that matchup right now.
I think there's something about the Dolphins that is psychological. They have been so mediocre for so long. I think teams are going to have a hard time taking them seriously, even as they win and win and win and win. I think it just takes time. And let's be candid about it. The uniforms are awful. Can we please go back to the old ones with the dolphin on the helmet, that's jumping and looks like a real dolphin, not some stylized graphic that you paid way too much to have someone make for you. There's nothing intimidating about the Dolphins uniform. Can we get some intimidation there? That's the one thing about that Arizona-Miami game. It was fun to watch, but both uniforms are horrible. Like a mildly perturbed bird is on the side of the Cardinals helmet, and this weird-looking dolphin graphic on them. I just think it's hard to take the Dolphins seriously because of the years of mediocrity, and there's nothing intimidating about that collection of jerseys and pants and helmets. Am I wrong to think that?
It's never been, but I don't know. I mean, they dominated the 70s and had a lot of good times, and I don't know. You're right. It's Florida colors. They don't look tough. And
the Buccaneers look tough.
I guess.
I almost dropped them even farther. I was so mad about how they made us look bad for picking them. Oh. They're lucky they're only number 10. They should count their blessings. I know it's very important to them where they are in my power rankings. You're lucky you're not 15, 17, or 20 Tampa Bay Buccaneers after that egg you laid on Sunday night.
Oh, I know. You wanted to get personal and really drop them.
I was mad. I was mad. How dare you make us look stupid, Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
How dare.
All right, that's probably all we need to talk about. I'm looking through these questions to see if there's another good one. How about this?
Yeah.
I like this from @Wolfpack, @Wolf49ac, which I don't know. Where is the line for the teams that should be tanking? Where is it right now? Where you would, and maybe we need to put the graphic up. How bad do you have to be to just throw in the towel after 9 weeks and say we only win by losing, Chris?
I mean, I think anybody with 2 wins should be just about in that conversation. I mean, I would be thinking about that, certainly. I mean, hey, we know, Jacksonville, the Jets are in that conversation, but when you start to get to the Chargers and Houston at 2-6, and then the football team at 2-6, along with
but they can still win the division. I think the dividing line for me right now, leave the graphic up, I think it's between 26 and 27 because the Giants and Washington are still alive to win their division. I think 27 through 32, they should be activating tank mode now.
I wouldn't even care.
The more you lose, the better off you are.
I was going to say, I wouldn't even care if I'm the Giants or Washington. I wouldn't. I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing for the team. Yeah, I know you want to win, start a winning culture and all those things too, but man, I mean, I don't know how either one of those teams, even though are in the conversation still in the NFC East, that they're smart enough to know that they have no chance. And at some point, you just got to go, okay, we want to win, be better, get something, grow something here. But, at the same time, I would think some of those teams, you start to think about positioning a little bit as far as the draft is concerned.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.